So we're gonna start pretty soon here, pretty promptly. I can check out these decks. Let me go ahead and pull one up. One of them is basically a Bilge Nox aggro. It's MFGP. It's running slightly different cards, but honestly, don't worry about that. Like the minor cards, it'll matter for me, but what you need to know, and I'll show it when I play the deck. It's Bilge Nox aggro. It's MFGP. But here's the second deck my second opponent is playing. This is quite a bit more interesting. This one's gonna be a journey. So he's running like the combo deck. I love this deck, by the way. I love how this is built. This is not normal Lulu Zed. This is triple Ghost, triple Relentless Pursuit. This is like the Moose OTK deck, right? You get a Great Thorn Companion. You get like a Pix with it. You ghost up your Great Horn and you just go fucking full aggro ham. The one very fascinating thing about this deck is it's not running Green Glade Duo, which I think like if you're running Pix and Blade Scout, I think you kind of have to run Green Glade Duo. That's kind of the one thing that looks a little weird to me about this list, but I like this style. And again, keep in mind, this is a very different deck from just like the normal Lulu Zed deck. Like the fact that it's using Fey Guide and Ghost and Triple Pursuit and Blade Scouts and Pix, it is not the same deck. Do not be fooled by these cards. Oh, I feel fresh. So literally in this tournament, there were 8 players. It's an 8-player invitational. There are 6 of them that are bringing MFGP aggro. Now this is aggro. It is different from GP Swain or GPTF. GP Swain is like the super slow version that still can run you down. They still can play fast and run you down. Whereas GPTF is kind of like middling speed. GPMF is aggro, pretty much. I'm not sure how I feel about like the Diana version of this list. It's pretty good. It's better than Zed. I mean, I don't like the Zed version. You could also just run like the Mono Lee Sin version as well. The best thing about Diana is like the second Diana is a Pale Cascade. That's the best thing about Diana. All right, let me go ahead and we're starting this off. Pulling a list up on the side. We have the aggro matchup, and we have attack on turn 4. We're often skipping turn 1 here. So this is an auto kick here. The question is, like, is this matchup enough for us to kick one of the Lee Sins? I don't think so. I think, like, I'm okay banking a bit of mana because we've got Eye anyway. But that's the one consideration we could make, which is kick one of the Lee Sins here. Or the second one. We're kicking one Lee Sin. We don't want to. But the reason to kick aggressively is to find like early plays, and because we have Eye, we're a lot more happy banking aggressively for mana in situations we might not otherwise be. If I play Eye now, it can get hit with a hired gun. So there's a bit of a call to pass. Passing here is potentially like losing 1 mana, but I think if it means his play is awkward. The thing is, he only has 5 2-drops in his version of the list. And Hired Gun only fucks Eye if he then plays an MF next turn. Man, that is a little awkward. I probably do have to pass here. His deck does not want to send into spell mana. And Hired Gun is enough of a reason to... It's like, if he has Hired Gun on Eye, then he's got Hired Gun on Eye. But what I can do is at least force it to not be Hired Gun plus MF, right? Like if he has Hired Gun on the, you know, on the Grenadier, then that's fine, and, you know, I'll take it. But at the very least, we're not losing to Hired Gun MF. Because he couldn't have like if we play Eye, then he Hired Guns, and then he MFs the turn after, and then that's really bad. And I might have an attack, but I don't know. Even if I'm representing Pale Cascade, it's kind of not even worth attacking there necessarily. Who's gonna get in my way? And I think we're pretty happy to just Bastion our Eye here and block the Legion Grenadier. That looks pretty sweet. I mean, this is kind of like the matchup where we do want to go in for something like this. His deck doesn't have like plus attack tricks, so it's a pretty easy kill. And then we can go ahead and Guiding Touch for the Dragonling as well. Now the question is, are we Guiding Touching the Eye or the face? So next turn we've got Zenith Blade plus X. If we have a 1 mana spell. I kind of just have to Guiding Touch the Eye here, I think. Like its stat line is always going to be converted. It's always going to matter. Like I can block with it later as well. I don't know. There's a consideration to like bank the mana. Because the Salamanders are going to do a lot more on defense. The only problem is, like, if I don't use it there, then I can feel really awkward. We could have gone, like, Zenith Blade into Eye this turn. That's true. I'm pretty happy using Sonic here, though. Sonic feels pretty impactful. I guess we go Duskbringer to threaten keeping the Sonic Blade up. I don't actually know if we have a pass here. Because he actually has an okay attack, and we're not lifestealing off the Salamander, which would feel bad. And his open attack doesn't even feel... Like, I don't mind if he develops in, because we have Palm. I think Duskbringer is a nice non-committal play. The problem with Duskbringer is it does actually play into Make It Rain. And we can't actually... We don't have a great answer to Make It Rain here. Yeah, I think we messed up by playing Guiding Touch the turn before. I think we should have just saved it for this turn and banked the mana. That would have been a little bit better. It's just better having the Dragon Link on defense. Even though, like, it can be awkward if his board is, like, double pet like it is now. Because then Dragon Link on defense is doing nothing. Yeah, he actually does have the hand that makes the Dragon Link better on offense than defense. It does look like I'm Sonic Waving the Zap. It's not, like, the most vulnerable to Make It Rain ever. It's a bit vulnerable. We all in. If I use the Resonating Strike, he might have a better use for, like, Fervor. Yeah, I don't think increasing my attack is worth enough there to not just take the strike, honestly. And he can't kill my eye, which is really valuable. So let's Make It Rain, and he needs the 75 hit the dragon here. Okay. I'm pretty fine with that. Like, forcing them to use Fervor in an awkward way like that is usually pretty good value. And I've got an eye on defense for free, which does mean it should be pretty difficult for him to actually do too much. Like, he's got the double Precious Pet attack here. Without Pale Cascade, the fact that we actually can't block either of these kind of sucks. Man, Pale Cascade is so nuts here. I think I might have to Deep Meditation to try to hit Cascade. If I hit Cascade, we literally just win. I actually have no choice. I actually have literally zero choice but to Deep Med and hope we hit Cascade. That's crazy. Is it possibly safer to palm one of them? No. I mean, Deep Med has good odds. It's not bad. Worst case scenario, we whiff it and we can still Guiding Touch. Which is fine. Because we do need to play the spell anyway. Like, we were always going to need the second spell trigger. Okay, and this time we can Guiding Touch our face. Guiding Touching face looks good here. Keeps a bit more flexibility. Yeah, that's fine. We actually have Dusk Petal with Diana off of that draw. So Dusk Petal does have some value here. I don't know. 10 is a little low, but we have Eye, and we've got more Guiding Touches, and we've got Palm for, like, a Gangplank that comes down. Like, just having this Bastioned Eye in this matchup is kind of so insane. Really. If we Tasty and then Zenith Blade it, that can basically lose the game for him on the spot. We can also Lee plus Diana here with Dusk Petal for, like, the Challenger. Challenger no barrier, I think, is okay. The only problem with using Fey Folk plus Zenith Blade is a second Fervor. Getting Fervors off of face is always good. The safe play really feels like it's Lee into Diana. It just kind of has to be. I don't see a single way around that. It does feel kind of bad that we aren't going to get the barrier on Lee this turn, but that's fine because we can just drag a Precious Pet anyway. And we've got a Fearsome Blocker as well for after. We're also diluting Make It Rain on the first action. Okay. If he has another Fervor, man, that is pretty nasty. He kind of has to have another Fervor, huh? Dude, that sucks. The second Fervor actually kind of blows us out here. Just means our Dragon Link doesn't get to heal. We can actually drag both of the pets and then force him to Fervor Ballista. Yeah, that's actually really sweet. Never mind, we're good.
Flowers bring the moonlight with them. Find your own light within the darkness. Yours is a light I cherish, Moon Sister.
But yeah, matchups like this are always going to be a little weird. So now he doesn't have the ability to stop the lifesteal on the Dragon Link without sacrificing his Ballista, which matters quite a bit. Damage we're dealing to his face has a pretty hard time mattering. I mean, sending the Eye of the Dragon in is just kind of like a really pointless throw for no reason. If we didn't have this Guiding Touch in hand, plus the Concussive Palm in hand, I'd feel pretty bad. This, however, feels fine. And we should basically kill him next turn, which is kind of nice, because it does beat out, like, some weird slow draw hands. He actually has, like, he's got a slower hand. He had, like, Fervor, maybe double Fervor, he had Zap. Like, hands like Pharaon and Jack were making a lot more awkward off of the ability to just, like, punch him down next turn. He certainly doesn't have an open attack here. What if he does open attack here? That's never good. Open attacking is never good here.
My patience wanes.
Okay. So I'm always just gonna touch myself. It looks like the play is touch, Feyfolk, Duskbringer, and then Moon Thing. Kinda has to be the play here.
Conflict is all in the mind.
Unless he Gangplanks and then I guess we're palming. Okay, so we just wait out the Gangplank. Is there ever a hush the Gangplank instead of palming kind of line? So if he Gangplanks here, we palm, Gangplank does nothing. I mean, he doesn't even have an attack. He can deal 1 damage with this through the Lee Sin's barrier, which actually is probably worth doing even though his unit dies for free. Our win condition might involve actually hushing the barrel from Gangplank, which is really funny. A lot of players might actually pass here and hope we tap under something like Palm.
Keep up, keep up.
So it's Zap on this action. That's interesting. Well, I guess that's our best hush. It's kind of really, really valuable keeping the Palm option open. It is pretty important to threaten killing him next turn, though. Yeah, so I guess we're just Duskbringer and hushing. That feels fine. And then we can, like, Zenith Blade. Make it so that he can't play Pharaon on turn 8. Like, if he plays Pharaon, he just dies to Lee. It's probably okay. We are not quite in lethal range here, is kind of like the one issue. Okay, so I'm hushing the Zap. Eye of the Dragon can block the Zap for free. The one problem is Lee Sin will get popped by Make It Rain. The barrier will pop and then it could die to the Iron Ballista. I wonder how bad Lee dying is. It's pretty bad if his hand is like Pharaon or something we can't out heal. That'd have to be second Make It Rain hands. Wait, he hasn't used Make It Rain yet. Yeah, I guess I'm just blocking with Diana instead. Because Lee Sin is only saving 1 more health anyway, right? And we're open attacking and healing with the Dragonling. I don't know, we might be slowing down our clock by too much by doing like that. Like, we're beating Fervor hands.
Breathe out.
The fact that we're only beating Fervor hands off of an open attack does feel kind of bad. Pale Cascade on the Dragonling is pretty nuts here. So I guess it's just open. We have to beat second. Or sorry, not Fervor, Decimate. We have to beat Decimate by just like open attacking here with Cascade on the Dragonling. Wow. It's so easy for him to have second Decimate here. I guess we can start with the Pale Cascade, and if we draw third Guiding Touch, then that can shift our play. But the fact that he doesn't have a unit to Fervor right now makes this a really sweet play. Is this guy like kind of dead, actually? Wait a second. What happened here? Wow, am I actually using... Hang on, am I using Cascade on Duskbringer now? To beat Make It Rain hands? Whoa. Killing him this turn is actually really important. We beat a lot by killing him this turn. And a single Make It Rain is completely bricked. Based on how he played. And he hasn't played the Make It Rain yet. That was a weird... We might have needed to block with Lee Sin. The fact that, like, we were forced to open attack to beat Decimate, but we're forced to open attack anyway because I can't let him turn on Fervor. I do have to open attack so that he can't Fervor. Because if I let him, like, Fervor block my Salamander, we lose. I think I had to do it exactly like that. I think blocking with that Diana was a really important play. I don't think we could have done anything else, personally. But yeah, that felt good. That's a deck I'm much more comfortable on than the discard deck, where I'm making more misplays. We'll have to learn these matchups with discard. I can't make it too easy for myself, guys. I can't queue into a tournament with 2 decks that I actually know how to play. That would be too easy. Awkward hand. Very awkward hands. Could you keep this and just turn 1 rummage the double jury rig? Am I trolling? It feels like a good play. Is he running any Corsairs? He's not running any Corsairs in his version of the deck. This is such a dumb hand, but turn 1 rummage into double jury rig actually feels good, right? Am I trolling? I wonder how hard I'm trolling right now. That's fascinating. What if we just open pass? If his hand is like double 1-drop, open passing is better here. Draw 1 mana card. If he hasn't drawn a 1 mana card, I think we're good either way. Let's start with a pass. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I feel pretty happy if he's passing on turn 1. I think his deck is really, really vulnerable to it. So I know that looks weird, but basically, so his deck runs 3 Butcher, 3 Saboteur, and 3 Pet. And I want hands that are on like multiples to not play Butcher on turn 1. I think we get better value. Because if I like rummage the double jury rig and then he plays Butcher, we lose our attack anyway. And that's super common. Whereas if he doesn't have a turn 1 play, then I'm already feeling great. So it could be like Make It Rain plus a 1-drop. I really don't like banking mana in this deck. I do kind of have to play proactively. Make It Rain plus a 1-drop isn't great. Let's actually rummage. Let's do that instead. And then if we House Spider, we're losing more to Hired Gun, but better against Make It Rain. I put him on Hired Gun here. I want to see the Hired Gun before I play House Spider. He's running the 2 Hired Gun versions. This is such an interesting early opening turns. Wow, he's just got a bricked out hand. So my hand is like the nuts.
Strike at their foundations.
And his Make It Rain has some bad hits here. Like, we've basically reduced the Make It Rain to have 3 bad hits. It looks like his opening hand was insanely bad. And that feels good. I know it seems kind of weird. That turn 1 pass we did seems kind of weird. I'm pretty confident it's proper. Definitely, you know, there's arguments. Zelu might have been watching this earlier. I mean... I think if he's smart, he lets it through, and I think that's a big issue for me. I think I do have to pre-commit Spinning Axe on one of the 1/1s here. Makes it a 3/1. It's a premium block. He will block that either way. I guess the one thing he doesn't want to block is the Draven. I guess I could just axe the Draven here. Let's axe the Draven here. Draven's the one he wants to block the least, I think. And he will block it now that I axed it. So the problem with like, so on the cheeky play you make is like, you open attack and then don't do vision. The only problem is, a lot of good players would just like let that through then, and you're not pressuring a ton. Because it could have still been a correct here, but just like, it's the difference between this 2-1, but if he lets it through, I feel pretty bad about that. I really want this board to trade down to devalue any removal he has. That one's close. That one might have been just open attack without axe. A lot of hands play MF here. Could be on a double MF hand, actually. So it's like MF into Get Excited, and then he could use MF to Make It Rain. What is happening here?
Dangerous waters.
Ah, Pet. Pet's interesting. Because I have Draven, it's not scary at all. But in a slightly different circumstance, that could have been terrifying. Well, I'm only blocking 1 for value. He's at 1 mana. He's tapped under literally any option. Guess that means I'm just playing Jinx here? Because, I mean, I can just flip the Jinx after. No problem, right? Might involve discarding Get Excited. But like aggressively flipping Jinx is just a little bit too valuable, right? We could go wide here instead. Discard some chumpers. He actually does have a decent double attack though, if he's willing to take some damage. Jinx feels good here.
Rules are made to be broken.
If we open attack, we can absolutely brick Fervor by threatening the Jinx level up. Which does feel good. I mean, I can play Battlecaster and Jinx is still flipping here, right? Caster's just too good to not play in spots like this. It also dilutes Make It Rain as well. He's not really playing anything on turn 5 that scares me. I mean, if he plays like Jack or Gangplank, then I'll just use Spinning Axe on whichever one he blocks with, which is really not doing anything at all. This feels good. And, I mean, he still can't do, like, if he wants to Fervor Jinx, it'll happen the same as it did in the last match, where he went into Fervor Jinx and then we force him to need Make It Rain too. But developing the Battlecaster plays around that as well, because it makes his Make It Rain have lower odds.
Nothing like the stink of blood and sweat.
So he's at 5 mana here, which gives him pretty much nothing. I mean, he kind of has to be on Fervor to really try to do anything here. Could still be the Fervor Make It Rain hands. Am I just playing Zonite? So, if he Fervors, it will force my Axe, which does feel pretty bad. If I open attack like this, he literally has to block, which is great. If I play another card, and then he Fervors my Jinx, oddly enough, it feels kind of awkward. And I kind of have to give Make It Rain some respect here, since he kind of needs it to not just lose. This looks good.
Who do not doubt?
Routes closed.
Yeah, I don't think playing the Zonite is worth it. Like, giving him an additional action doesn't actually feel valuable here. I want to force him to try to Fervor my Jinx. Feels great. His hand looks really bad. He has no choice but to try to go for it, basically. So that's neat. So I just Spinning Axe away one of these and then rummage a single card is the only way to do it. I guess, wait, I can Get Excited. I can Get Excited then a Spinning Axe the rummage. Yeah, I guess that has to be better. I can't take him to the late game. Yeah, I guess I will just do this. I don't know. I really can't care enough about this Navigator, I think. This feels good.
We are doing it.
Not running Make It Rain? Is this guy not running Make It Rain? What the fuck? Hang on. Excuse me? Alright, I guess that's my bad. Like, I get it, Teehee, you know, playing around things that aren't even... What the fuck is this deck? Excuse me? I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't realize he wasn't running Make It Rain. I didn't check for that. He kind of has to Fervor the Jinx. See, this is actually really interesting. Because I have to assume his hand is the second Fervor. Zap can only draw Fervor. Can I force him to Fervor the Jinx? If I play the House Spider right now, I think he might think that my hand is double unit. In which case, he might Fervor my Jinx. I need him to Fervor my Jinx. This is actually really, really awkward. He just drew Fervor off of the Zap. It's literally the only... Because he cut Make It Rain, it's the only spell Zap can draw there. And I can't actually use... So this is Jinx Get Excited. Like, sticking the Jinx is actually really, really important here in this matchup. It feels very, very difficult to use this preemptively. I have to use it after. The only way I can ever play this card is if he plays Fervor first. I have to bait him into thinking my hand is double unit, so that he Fervors thinking that he's stopping a Mega Death Rocket, and then I can play the other Jinx, and then I win. Because a lot of Jinx hands draw double unit. The Poro emote was very important there. I could not have won this without the Poro emote.
Rules are made to be broken. We're people.
You should try.
I don't get to use the Death Rocket, but that's fine.
Let's do this.
I'll use the next one. I mean, we're either open attacking. Does open attacking actually give us any value at all here? He can't actually do anything to us, right? Don't think so. I don't think he can really make us sad for not open attacking. Because if he plays like a Gangplank, then I'll just use my Jinx spell, right?
Are you pooping?
Am I what now?
Some brought me blast from the past. Well,
Poros kind of suck on this board. They don't even fit on the board, which is kind of the awkward thing about them. Because the thing is, if he develops, he knows I'm going to Death Rocket the Saboteur, removing one of his blockers. And I've priced myself into Death Rocketing here, which I think is fine. How is he alive? I'm trying to think what we lose to. Are we ever losing to super weird Thrawn hands? No, he doesn't have enough mana to kill us with Thrawn. Yeah, this feels fine.
The ocean whispers our secrets.
Ha! Wait, he played Ballista before Navigator? That's smart. He knew if he played Ballista we were gonna use our rocket. And he only has 2 Navigators in the deck, so he had to have the second one. Okay. Yeah, I mean, his health is looking pretty low here.
Coming right up.
Should be kind of like the freest full attack ever. Looks pretty free, I'm not gonna lie. Is there like... There's no weird universe in which I actually play Chompers into this attack. Doesn't make sense. I'm just like, I know this game is like, we're pretty good here, but I'm just...
we live here.
I would be very embarrassed if we actually found a way to throw this game, so I kind of have to, you know, make sure I'm not doing any donkey plays. Very important. Yeah, I mean, there's just not really a way he can deal 16. If my health was lower, if it was like 9 health, he could do some like weird ass pulls. But it shouldn't really be possible here. It's actually better to play the Chompers now. I want my hand to be as close to empty as possible, right? Isn't it always better to play Chompers here? Because I'm always just winning guaranteed off of the last Jinx Rocket. And no, it doesn't matter. It's never going to matter.
Now it's a party.
Dead men tell my tale.
Okay. So we've won 2 matches in this tournament so far. That was a pretty clean 2-0 on Zello.
We blew them all up.
Look, guys, I know it's pretty cringe we were playing around a card he didn't have in the deck. I skimmed the deck. Who doesn't run Make It Rain?